The three young people moved furtively through the trees, closely watched by several women with brown brittle faces, black and red hair flowing loosely behind them as they eagerly followed their quarry. The Hatresses, as they were known, were loyal followers of Braccus and harbored a deep hatred of Iam and his people. These twisted, rotten women had a vested interest in destroying these three champions. A previous encounter had resulted in the death of a number of their kind, and they were eager to even the score. Killing the young keepers would be a joy. They followed at a discreet distance, flowing on currents of air, hiding behind trees and slithering along the ground to appear suddenly out of a pile of leaves, all in hopes of surprising their prey. These three humans had been particularly bothersome to their leader also, and he had given instructions to kill them as soon as possible. The Hatresses had received special directions regarding the blonde girl. She was to suffer as much as possible. He had stated this many times emphatically. The group that brought in the head of this one would receive great rewards. As a result, all of Braccus's followers were out in full force, combing the countryside for this Sara and her two companions, hoping to be the ones to win the leader's approval. The band of Hatresses had been lucky enough to spot them about 2 miles back, staying with them as they moved slowly through the forest, waiting for the chance to attack. Ella, the mistress of this particular band of Hatresses, smiled as her company closed in on the three valuable subjects in front of her. She clamped her lips together to stifle a cackle of triumph, already anticipating the great honors she would receive for this daring capture. She would personally take the head of the blonde one and bring it to Braccus. He would be so pleased with her. Knobby teeth bared in a grimace, as she caught sight of one of her clan rapidly approaching the girl from behind. No one was going to steal her glory. Ella sped over the ground with hardly a whisper, only to reappear beneath her competition. Grabbing a dry, thin leg in her knotty hands, she pulled as hard as she could. Dragging her rival deep into the ground, she silenced her captive's enraged cries by packing dirt tightly into her mouth and weaving a spell that caused the thin wooden body to spread her root-like arms and legs into the rich soil. She stayed with her competitor until she no longer breathed, her body becoming more and more firmly connected to the earth until she appeared merely as a young tree waiting to burst onto the surface and reach for the sunlight. "I will make sure that you're watered regularly," was her parting comment to her enchanted rival. Giggling gleefully, she sped away to catch up with her prey. Ella then broke through the soil to land on her feet right in front of her three enemies. To her surprise, they didn't seem to be the least bit startled by her sudden arrival. Instead of running for cover or moving into a defensive position, they spread out in a circle around her, smiling as they did so. Her last thought, as she saw the bodies of her fellow Hatresses sprawled on the ground behind the small group, was that she had just made a terrible mistake, one that she would pay for with her life. Maggie's small body shimmered into view as she let go of the illusion of Sara's form. Likewise, Ollie and Ford returned to their original shapes and moved in towards the Hatress standing defiantly before them, her eyes roaming restlessly, searching for a way out of this trap. Snarling, she lunged for Ollie, who anticipated her action and reduced her to a pile of cinders. "I hear there are more hunters near Spider Falls." We should be heading in that direction before nightfall. I expect they will attack us there, Ollie said. He waved his hand and sent the ashes scattering to the wind. The corpses of the other hatresses were disposed of in the same way before the three keepers shifted back into the shapes of Sara and her two companions. It would not do to be seen in their true form. It was necessary for the enemy to believe they were pursuing Sara's group. Yes, let's hurry. There is much for us to do. Maggie turned and started walking along the very visible path through the sparse woods as conspicuously as she could. Pretending not to notice the big black birds circling overhead, eyeing them with excited anticipation, she kept her eyes trained on the ground and continued on her way. The Tokars, as they were known, flew high, not wanting to give away their position to the travellers below. They would keep their distance and attack when the time was right, gaining glory and power from Braccus for a job well done. Focusing on the blonde girl, visions of pecking her eyes out and bringing her helpless before their leader, they bided their time and followed. "Here, Biddy, Biddy," Ford whispered while he moved on in James' form, looking straight ahead as if they had not noticed that they were once again being tracked by the enemy. Let them follow. This was all part of the plan.